Okay, now that we have WordPress and its essential plugins installed, it's time to start focusing a little bit on the search engine aspect. Because there's no such thing as starting too early to focus on SEO. So I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary, and today we're going to be adding Google aspects to our website. So in this video, we're going to be looking at Analytics and Search Console. Now these two tools together will help you understand your audience and what people are looking for when they find your content. It can help you develop future content strategies and revamp some of the work that you've already had published. And although no tool is 100% accurate, it still gives you a really good idea, and it's free. So since we're trying to build our money-making blog on the cheap, free is always good. So before we get started, don't forget the like button, and if you want to see more videos about building a better blog, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So let's jump into it and add Google to our blog. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add our website to Search Console. So we just go to Search Console's website. And as you can see, I've already got Practically Living Green here. I did that earlier on accident, but I'll show you how I did it. We just hit the drop down arrow on this. We're going to go to Add Property. Then from here, we're going to select URL prefix, and then we type in our website address, and then we hit the Continue button. And this will give us a verification file. Now there's a couple of different ways we can get the verification for Search Console in WordPress, and we're not going to use the HTML file. Even though this works, we can download this and then upload it, but we're going to use the HTML tag. So we can drop this down and we can copy this tag and put it into WordPress. However, we're going to use a little bit of a different process this time around. It's going to be really quick and easy. We're going to go back to WordPress. We're going to go to Jetpack and go to Settings. From here, we click on Traffic, and then we scroll all the way down. Now, at the very bottom, you'll have a Verify Site Ownership by Third-Party Services option. This will be off. You'll click it to turn it on, and then Google will highlight. Now, you can do it two different ways in Google. You can either do it manually by copying and pasting that HTML tag that we had earlier, or you can just hit the first button, and that will let you sign directly into Google, and it'll verify the website and everything. It's probably one of the easiest ways to do it, so if you have that option, I would suggest you do it, because once you click it, you'll sign into Google, and it'll authorize the website to work with your account. And that is probably the simplest way to add your website to Search Console. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it, but if you're using WordPress, Jetpack just makes it that much easier. So what about Google Analytics? Well, with Analytics, go down to the very bottom left-hand side where it says Admin. Create a new account. We're going to add Practically Living Green. Now you can name this anything you want, but I would suggest naming it something that you'd remember, since this is for Practically Living Green, and I spelled that wrong. Then it'll be easier to identify with all the other stuff that I've got. So then we scroll down, and we're going to leave these all checked by default. Then we hit the next button. Now you have a decision here between web, apps, and web and apps. Since we're just doing a blog, we're going to leave it at web. So let's scroll down and hit next. The website name, obviously, is going to be Practically Living Green. The website URL, we're going to change that from HTTP to HTTPS because I have an SSL attached to it. We did that in the last video. So now we put in our web address. Oh, we don't need that. practicallylivinggreen.com. And then you pick your industry category. Now you will find that Google doesn't have a lot of stuff that you think it would, especially being Google. Pick the thing that is the closest related. But since I'm making a Practically Living Green website, probably home and garden maybe. Then the reporting time zone, put your time zone in. Mine's Denver. And then you hit the create button. Now I'm not going to create because I've already done that, but hit the create button and you can use that in a number of ways, but I'm going to show you the easiest way through WordPress. So once you have your account created and Analytics is ready, and you have the UA number, we go back to WordPress. Now we're going to go to Plugins. We're going to add new. And here we're going to search for Google Analytics. Oh, God, I can't spell today. Now, there's all kinds of different plugins you can use with Google Analytics in WordPress, and the list is quite extensive. Pick the one that works best for what you're trying to do. I personally like the Google Analytics dashboard for WP by exact metrics. It works great. It pulls data to your dashboard, and it works pretty good for me. So I went ahead and installed and activated it already. So once you activate your plugin, you just scroll down. Like with this one, I'm going to show you, if you go to Google Analytics, go to tracking code. This will load up and it'll show you a button here where you activate your website with analytics. It'll walk you through the whole process of signing in to Google, and it'll pull up the correct website based on the domain that you're coming from. So since I've came from practicallylivinggreen.com, that's the website that it pulled up when it installed everything it needed. And so once I authorized it using that button, it gave the tracking ID and all the correct information, and it ported it directly to WordPress. So it was really quick and easy. At which point you just hit the Save Changes button. It'll probably be a little bit further down, and then you'll be good to go. Analytics will be connected to WordPress. So what about our sitemap? Now, sitemap is vital if you want any kind of traffic from search engines. But luckily, we installed Yoast, so it already created the sitemap for us. So if I go to Yoast SEO, then we click on the Features tab at the top here. Let's go down to where it says XML Sitemaps, and then got a little question mark. We're going to click that, and it'll show us enable the XML Sitemap in Yoast properties, which it already is by default. Now we can see the XML or read why it's important. So we're going to see why the XML, XML sitemap. I'm going to right click it and open in a new window. At which point we can see how the sitemap is being built. And since there really isn't any content on this yet, I'm just going to copy the URL from the browser window, which is at the very top. So once you're back at Search Console and you have your website here on the very top, that's one we're working on, Practically Living Green. We're going to select sitemap. We're going to enter in the sitemap URL, but we're going to delete everything before here because, well, it's already here. So all it needs is a sitemap_index.xml. Now, depending on what kind of sitemap system you have, that's all you're going to need is anything after this first slash. And since this is how Yoast sets up the sitemap, we can go ahead and hit submit. And it's submitted successfully. So we're going to hit got it. And it says it couldn't fetch. So it's giving us a little bit of an error, but that's probably because we have like no content on the site. There's no URLs to discover. So I simply like adding the sitemap at the very beginning because then I don't have to worry about trying to remember to do it again. So now we have our sitemap, we have our website. Click on overview. No visitors, obviously. It's a brand new site. Ain't gonna be anybody there. So we're gonna go back to WordPress and go back to the dashboard. See, that's all it is. We added our sitemap, we added analytics, and we included Search Console into the mix. So now we have all three of the major systems from Google activated and ready to go. So the reason why I like the dashboard plugin is that you can scroll down, grab the analytics dashboard and bring it up. Now, anytime I get traffic, I can see it from here. So if I log in, I can see the last 30 days. I can change it down to today. I can look at yesterday. You have quite a few options of what you want to look at. And it'll give you a breakdown of traffic. You get sessions, organic, page views, bounce rate, location pages, refers, stuff like that. But if you want to dig further into analytics, you'll have to log directly into Google to do that. And we'll probably cover that in a future video, but for now, we just want to be able to see if people are coming to the site. And since we have Jetpack enabled, we can see that already. Now, the numbers between Jetpack and Google Analytics are going to be slightly different. That's only because Google will record every single hit, that's including bots. The Jetpack tracker seems to track more of organic visitors, so it can kind of determine who's a bot and who's not. But every system is different and they will give varying results, but it still gives you a good idea as to how your website is performing on the internet, and that's the most important thing. So now we have analytics, we have Search Console, and we have our sitemap. So I think the next stages is making our website look nice and adding some content. Now, you don't necessarily have to take the steps that I did, it's just those are pretty much the easiest ways to get all those systems on your blog. And like I showed with the Google Analytics plugin, you can pick pretty much anything you want. Just make sure you find one that works for you and you add the UA code to it. It's one of the reasons why I like the dashboard plugin so much, is because it'll let you connect directly to analytics and pull that for you. So you don't have to go into analytics and copy that tracking code and then paste it into WordPress. It takes out the middleman. And it's how I track data on all 3 of my primary blogs, and it works great. Well, like I said, it's all up to you and which you find to be the best one. You'll probably have to play around with it a little bit and find which one. Like if you don't care about the dashboard, there's one plugin, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but that's all it is just a way to add the tracking code to WordPress. Nothing more. Pretty basic. Same with the sitemap. If you don't want to use Yoast, there's an Xml Sitemap plugin that you can add that will create the sitemaps for you. You just copy and paste that into Search Console and you're good to go. So just find the ones that work best. So yeah, I think that covers it for today. We just added Google. Didn't take very long. So what are your favorite plugins for WordPress when it comes to Google, like analytics and Search Console and stuff like that? In the comments down below. So anyway, if you find the video informative, hit the like button. If you want to see more about building a better blog or WordPress or text broker or freelance writing or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think it's going to do it for me today. I'll see you tomorrow.